What's going on, Comic Book Nation? Jim Viscardi here, and today we have a very special guest in the studio, Jon Paquette, the lead writer of Marvel's Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. Jon, welcome. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Jim.
This game, ever since you guys announced it, has sort of just like, people have been dying for another great Spider-Man game, and everything that we've seen, this feels like this is going to be the one. When you took this project on, obviously, you know, I would imagine you have seen some of the other games, you know, that have sort of come out. What was the approach that you guys wanted to take for this one?
Well, from the start, when we were working with Marvel and Sony, everybody agreed that we wanted to create our own universe, create our own story, our own version of Peter Parker. And so we just started from there, and you know, we thought, okay, what would make the best experience for us and kind of separate us from what has come before. So one of the key things we did early on was say we wanted a more experienced Peter Parker. We wanted an experience where we're in the game, and we've been in New York City for about 8 years. Spider-Man is used to doing the Spider-Man thing, and that kind of allowed us to throw a lot more challenges at him and bring in some new villains that you might not be familiar with.
Right. So let's talk about villains for a second. So obviously, Spider-Man's got one of the biggest rogues galleries that we can anticipate. So do you just like start out with just like a whiteboard of all of them, and you're just like, yes, no, ooh, that would be a good
encyclopedia,
one.
more like, you know, I'm a frequent visitor to the Marvel Wikia.
Okay.
I'm always going on Marvel and checking out all the villains and backstories and that kind of thing. But what we wanted to do, you know, like I said, is kind of create our own universe. Mm-hmm. So we settled on doing a villain that not many people are familiar with, Mr. Negative, early on, and for a couple of reasons. One, because I think he really hits on that theme that we're going for, which is worlds colliding, which our talented creative director at Marvel, Bill Roseman, said that always good Spider-Man stories that start with, you know, Peter Parker's world and Spider-Man's worlds colliding. Mm-hmm. And what Mr. Negative does, Martin Lee, is that he is also a personification of that.
Right.
And when we started developing the story, we were like, okay, we're going to have Aunt May working at the Feast Center. Martin Lee runs the Feast Center. Peter has an Aunt May. He comes to the Feast Center, and when the events of the story get juicy,
right,
that's when Peter's world really, you know, starts to get big.
So I know you guys have been a little coy as far as what Peter's job actually is. Mm-hmm. And it seems like from what you guys have shown, what you said, like this Spider-Man story sort of picks from a bunch of different, things that we may have seen in Peter's past. So is this more of a, Parker Industries type Peter Parker, or a reporter Peter Parker? Or
I'm still going to be a little coy.
Okay.
I'm still going to be a little coy in his job, but he's a scientist.
Okay.
We said that in the past. So,
right.
And one of the cool parts of what I think we wanted to do with the story is when we said we wanted a more experienced Peter Parker, we all went back to that time when we had just graduated college. We were in our early 20s, and we were just starting our careers, and we were like, what did it feel like to be that young? Mm-hmm. Felt good to be that young. But to be that young and have all that energy and feeling like, oh, okay, my job is going to change the world. And I think that's something that our Peter Parker struggles with. He thinks, maybe I can change the world and save more people with my job as a scientist than I can as Spider-Man, right?
Right.
So he's got that internal struggle he's got to deal with.
So I got to ask you about the suit.
Yeah.
It's an awesome looking suit.
Thank you.
But clearly,
props to all the character designers and animators and everybody back at Insomniac, yeah.
Clearly invokes a certain villain that we have not heard anyone even talk about yet.
Oh, really? I have no idea what you're talking about.
So that is very much intentional in that, like, is there...
There is a story behind the suit, and when you play the game, you'll find out, what the story is. But it's more rooted in who Peter is and, what he does on a daily basis.
So we may see Venom?
I'm neither confirming nor denying.
Fair enough. One of the cool things that you guys have been doing for promotion of the game is the Daily Bugle. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, so even at yesterday, you guys announced that Silver Sable coming to the game, which is awesome.
Yeah, did you see Nicole on stage?
Yeah,
she's awesome.
Awesome. Silver Sable is usually a character that is fairly associated with the Black Cat in some ways. And in that first edition of the Daily Bugle, there was a picture of a black cat in there. So is that setting something up? Maybe will we see Black Cat?
I don't know if you've played the demo that we have on the show floor, but yeah, I think that is definitely part of an experience that you'll have in the game.
Okay.
I mean, that's all I'm going to say
enough.
at this point.
So building these daily bugles, and obviously, as you're writing the game, obviously, you've got the story that you want to tell, but then there's all this other stuff like the daily bugle and whatnot. Does that go into your planning for it, or how does that come together?
There's different people that write the daily bugles, which is awesome, because what they do is they take the story of the game that me and Ben Arthman and Christos Gage have been working really hard on. And they sort of extend that in a way that whenever we read it, we're like, oh, that's so cool that they're setting up that story, or kind of splintering off in that story. And then we look at it and we're like, oh, this is amazing. I can't wait for, it's like they set up the story of the game better than we could, and it's great for fans to get those and check it out and get excited about the game.
So in the online second edition that went out this weekend, there was a mention of grave dust. And so now the internet is speculating: is that tied to Tombstone? Could it be Carrion? Which side of the internet?
We will see. We will see in just a few short weeks.
Oh, all right.
Because the game comes out early September.
Cool.
September 9th. Right, Christine? September 9th. 7th.
Obviously, you've got the main story that the fans can go on. Have you built in side stuff for Peter to do? Is that a mechanic?
There's a lot of stuff for Peter to do out in the open world. Absolutely. We wanted this to feel like an authentic Spider-Man experience. And one of the things that's core to Peter's character is that he's got so much responsibility out there in the city. So there's never going to be a lack of things to do when you're swinging around in New York City. There's a lot of cool stories.
Like a dating simulator where Peter Parker goes on dates?
That would be awesome. We should do that. Yeah.
Nice. Obviously, with games like this, the costumes are, people love to be able to unlock, additional costumes. And you guys have announced, a whole bunch. How crazy may you guys get with those?
Well, Insomniac, we like to get crazy.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's more of a subjective call, but there are a lot of suits in the game.
Really?
Yeah, we've announced a lot, but there's a lot we haven't announced. So yeah, it's really fun to change suits, throughout the game and experience it in different ways.
Do you have a favorite suit? Just in general.
I like the advanced, actually, no, seriously, like when I play in the advanced suit, with the one with the white spider. Just because I feel like that looks really cool. It pops and it's sort of unique for our game, and I think it's just cool to swing around New York like that.
Is there potential for other characters to put on suits?
You mean Spider-Man suits? Other characters put on Spider-Man suits? That's a good question. I don't have a great answer for that without spoiling anything.
All right. So you mentioned, obviously the world you built for this Spider-Man is a little bit different. So do some of the Hallmark, have some of this Hallmark Spider-Man events happened here? In the sense, like, does Gwen Stacy exist? And has that, everything that involved her, obviously, has that happened?
Well, like I said, we're building our own universe, and we kind of went through a lot of the events that have happened in the Spider-Verse, and we, like I said, wanted to create our own. Right. So we chose a few things that would kind of build his backstory, but our strategy in storytelling isn't to focus too much on what's happened in the past. Right. Because we feel like a lot of players have experienced that origin story, and we wanted to give them something fresh and new. So we're not focusing much on what's happened in the past and really focusing on what's happening now.
Cool, awesome. I'll leave you one last question because I know we got to wrap. What are you most excited for fans to see?
I just want people to play the game. I mean, from the beginning, we wanted to allow players to feel what it's like to be Spider-Man, and it's taken a lot of hard work from a lot of people to get that to feel right. And from what I'm hearing from people out on the the playing the demo and everything, I think we're doing pretty good. So I just want people to go and experience what it's like to be Spider-Man. We all love Spider-Man, And I know I've had a lot of fun playing the game, so I can't wait to share it with fans.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. For more on Spider-Man, make sure to keep it locked in on Comicbook.com.